Hello, and welcome to YouTube number 74, exposing the Jesuit Vatican shadow empire and their final thrust to enslave the peoples of the world with their fake COVID-19 pandemic. Welcome to the Jesuits' real-time, real-life movie playing out in front of our eyes. We are watching the end of the Western liberal capitalist paradigm and the start of the beast communitarian fascist dictatorship. Before I start, I'd like to remind you that there are no autonomous nations. None. National sovereignty ceased long ago and is a myth promoted by the media. And the fact that we did not know about it was because we were not told. So there are no autonomous nations making independent decisions for people groups. That ceased a long time ago. All national leaders are reading a Jesuit script. They are following orders and doing what they are told and have been for quite some time. True democracy doesn't exist anywhere and probably hasn't since 1933, when the Jesuits took control of Western national governments. And this can be easily verified through research and documents. And I have done this and ascertained that whatever freedom Western nations have experienced, or any nations have experienced, has simply been because it has been expedient for the Jesuits to allow people to enjoy certain freedoms in order to build up their economies and then smash them. And this is what the Jesuits have been doing for centuries, building up economies and smashing them in order to manipulate people groups and socially engineer them. And that is what it is all about. China is not autonomous, and the Communist Party is 100% controlled by the Vatican. This must be understood for anything to make sense. China is not the enemy. Russia is not the enemy. Rome is the enemy. And this has been kept hidden from people, and this is why they still believe that international politics is what is moving events in world history. It is not. It is not. All national governments are subject to the government of Rome through its Vatican UN government, world government. And it has been since 1945. This is clear in documentation. It must be understood. Otherwise, nothing will make sense. This whole media nonsense that goes on day after day will not make sense to you. It just will not. There is no hard evidence that a virus pandemic is occurring at the present time, contrary to all MSM claims, mainstream media claims. All there is are statistics that have been falsified and stage-managed photos and videos fabricated by the media worldwide and presented on TV as public theater, which people foolishly believe is real. TV is a scripted reality, and that reality is a lie, a deception. TV is not real, people. Wake up. TV is a lie. It's a scripted reality. Everything that is said and done on TV is scripted. There is nothing spontaneous, serendipitous, or natural about TV. It is a written, scripted reality that you are watching. Please wake up to this fact and do not believe what you hear on TV. Opinions or claims being made in the Jesuit-controlled world media are false, so believe them at your peril. Fake is being pushed as true, and the true is being slammed as fake. That is Masonic inversion, because this is a Masonic world. The Masons under the Jesuits control all world governments. the Jesuits are currently dividing and conquering all peoples with a fake virus in order to bring their phoenix, New World Order, out of the ashes of the old order, which is disappearing before our eyes. This is what is happening. There appears today to be three major narratives being pushed heavily by the Vatican world media at the present time, and today is the 6th of April, 2020. All media is under Jesuit Vatican control. World media is the voice of the beast world government. So if you're listening to world media and believing it to be real or true, then you're being totally deceived by the voice of the beast world government. All TV, radio, and even many internet broadcasting channels are controlled by the beast world government, the Vatican world government. Here's the first story. A world government is needed now more than ever. We need a world government now more than ever to control and to deal with this pandemic emergency. And the pandemic emergency is a total scam. It doesn't exist. It has been built up in the media so that people in their own minds believe it exists. It is the emperor's new clothes all over again. The Jesuits love doing this, faking something and turning it into something real. The second story is a vaccine cure is coming. It's coming. There's a vaccine cure coming. It's going to save us all. This is the second story, big thing that's being touted in the media today. And the third is China is apparently manipulating world government agencies from behind the scenes and deliberately caused this pandemic. Really? China is manipulating the world government from behind the scenes? What total nonsense. China has no power over the world government. The world government controls all nations, and that is the Jesuit Vatican Empire, which currently rules the world. It is the fourth and last beast of Daniel chapter 7, and it still rules the world, and it rules the world completely and has taken power over 500 years, the last 500 years. I want to address these three fake narratives as well as a number of other contiguous issues in this video. The Economist posted a video April 3rd claiming the pandemic created this virus. Really? The pandemic created this virus? That's what they're claiming. That is a lie. The Jesuit Military Order created the fake killer virus and started it in China quietly, with the media reporting the first case on November 17th, as reported by The Guardian on Friday the 13th of March, 2020. Friday the 13th. Get it? It's all mockery. You're being lied to and being mocked for your stupidity for not believing or for believing the mainstream media. And then building the story with great media theatrics, and then migrating that fake virus threat to numerous hotspots across the world over the next 3.5 months. This is how they've done it. It's all fake. They started it in China for a purpose, to eventually blame China and to turn China into the big enemy. Leapfrogging from country to country, they made the virus appear as if travelers were carrying it naturally from country to country. Yeah, right. If anyone has died from any common flu, then it is elderly people whose health was already compromised by underlying illnesses they were suffering. And the media has said this time and time again. In all the stories, they've reported another person dying, another person dying, another 10 people dying, another 50 people dying, and they're all elderly, usually over 70, and all of them were immunocompromised by other illnesses. Doesn't this sound an alarm bell? Doesn't it raise a red flag? Read the stories, people, and look at what they're actually saying. They're telling you what is actually going on. Only old people are dying, and these people were already dying. They were already critical. Virtually any death is being blamed on this virus in order to escalate the numbers and get it to 1 million cases, which apparently occurred a few days ago. They had to reach that 1 million to give it gravitas, to lend gravitas to a fake virus. When people hear big numbers, they think immediately it must be real. Really? Are you that stupid to believe that a big number means it's real? Anybody can manipulate numbers, and the Jesuits are masters at manipulating statistics. Large numbers impress a gullible public, and they know this, and lend some form of legitimacy to official claims, even though the very small number of deaths don't support them, but in fact contradict those numbers. Pay attention to the numbers, people. There's a lot of stuff that's going on here, and you're being hoodwinked by the media. The World Health Organization, or WHO, officially declared the outbreak a pandemic on March the 11th this year. Why? When the first report was November 17th last year. Now, isn't that a coincidence? Why did they wait so long until this date to make the announcement? Well, March 11 equals 311, which equals 3 times 11, which equals 33, the highest level in Scottish Rite Freemasonry. It's all in the numbers, folks. They're putting it in your face. The Luciferians do everything according to their magic numbers. The pandemic is a farce, a total scam. Don't believe it. Today in the Regina Leader Post in Canada, there is an article reading, and I quote, "On Thursday, Health Minister Patty Haddu channeled the worst excesses of Lennon and Yoko Ono as she scolded a CTV, Canadian TV, reporter for feeding into conspiracy theories, for questioning whether Ottawa should trust China's data in its efforts to beat COVID-19, now that U.S. intelligence officials have reportedly concluded that Beijing has been issuing fake infection statistics." Fake infection statistics. Well, that is true. A lot of these statistics are fake. Anybody that dies is being put on the list, virtually. He goes on to quote, "We're all in this together," Haddu admonished the journalist. And the most important thing to understand about this pandemic is that as long as the coronavirus exists in one country, it exists in all our countries. And we actually have to work collectively as a world now. And there is no way to beat a global pandemic if we're not willing to work together as a globe. And that's going to take everyone working together. Imagine all the people sharing all the world. This is the nonsense that is being touted as truth. It's not truthful at all. People, the enemy is not China, but the Jesuits who control the Chinese papal stooges that simply follow orders, like Xi Jinping. He's a papal stooge. He's doing a job, and he's doing it for the Vatican. China is not some independent political and economic juggernaut controlling world affairs, all out there by itself doing its own thing. Are you kidding me? What do you think the UN is all about, and why do you think it's been there since 1945? All nations are under Jesuit Vatican UN control. That's why the Pope goes to the UN to make his long pronouncements about what he wants done. Every single nation, everyone. There are no independent nations, none. There is no democracy. It's a fiction. Freedom is gone. This should be apparent by now to any intelligent person, but from the social media comments I've been reading every day, most people actually believe this is going to blow over and go away just like before. Really? They're touting 6, 12, and 18 months for this to go out. 6, 12, and 18 months. Things will never return to normal. Everything is being dissembled or pulled apart by the Jesuits. All national economies are being dissembled right now and rearranged for the new world order. Let me warn you here. It is never going to blow over. It is just going to keep going until they can bring in their new system in its entirety. Things will never be the same as they were. Don't believe it. Things are not going to return to where they were. This has already gone too far. This has already gone out 3.5, 4 months. And nobody's talking about it stopping. Nobody. They're all talking about it and extending the dates out to April, May, June, September. September, when apparently the miracle vaccine will arrive and save everybody. Well, that is a total fiction. A vaccine may be arriving, but the purpose behind it is very, very malicious, very nefarious. Things will never be the same as they were. Every living soul is now in a world prison camp. We're in a world prison camp, people. Everybody's under house arrest. Everybody's self-isolating. The streets are empty. Businesses are closing down. This is a world prison camp. The Jesuits have succeeded in locking down the whole world, virtually, because every political leader has been ordered to do so. They're all working together. They are all communists and are following orders to imprison their peoples. Oh, yes, they are. And if you think otherwise, you are a fool. Look at what's going on and wake up. China has been under a form of Vatican control since early in the 20th century, as both Chinese political factions were set up as oppositional. You can read the history. I've written a blog about this on my website. Mao Zedong instituted gun control in 1935, executed untold millions of so-called political dissidents who were not dissidents. They were just killed so that their properties could be taken and their wealth confiscated by the Vatican. Between 1948 and 52, and had complete control of China by 1949, declaring himself emperor. That's right, emperor. He was declared emperor. And you can see more details about this at my blog. I'll put the details in the description box below. Or listen to my video on the Jesuits in China, and I'll put that link in the description box below. China is now being blamed for taking advantage of the democratic Western nations to unfairly restart its economy while others are locked down. Really? Well, it might be part of the deal. China has restarted its economy and seems to be returning to normal, but there's more going on behind the scene than what you and I are told. And yes, Western economies are locked down and are being smashed. But hey, it's all part of the big plan. It's all going to happen together. Nobody comes out of this independent. It's all one new world order system. And countries will basically disappear. Disappear. Because there will be one central governing authority coming from Rome and maybe eventually Jerusalem. And that will be the Pope Antichrist. Now I'm telling you people, countries no longer exist. Haven't existed for some time. Just because Canada has the name Canada or Australia has the name Australia or the USA is called the USA does not mean that it is a country in its true sense. It's a fiction. And there is a one world government that controls all countries as if they were one. And that is what is happening right now. That is why they're doing what they're doing and using a health scare in order to bring fascism into every corner of the world. It's a genius move. The Jesuits are smart. And everyone basically has been fooled. China is now being blamed for controlling UN agencies. Really? China is controlling the UN? The UN is claimed to be a slave to China, and Taiwan is battling the World Health Organization. This is from April the 4th, China Uncensored, a YouTube channel. China is blamed for hoarding masks. So now there's mask accusations coming from all sides. Who's got the masks? Where the masks are going? Who's hoarding the masks? It's unbelievable. What a fiction. What a distraction from the real issue of world fascism being implemented right now as we watch. People are saying that over-reliance on China must never happen again. And this is in Sky News from April the 4th. Really? Over-reliance on China? Everybody agreed to become over-reliant on China. All the companies, Western companies, went there sometime in the 80s. This is all nonsense. It's all planned, people. There's no over-reliance. If that over-reliance was planned from the beginning, decades ago. It was all planned to build up China and make its economy what it is, which is also a fiction. It's all based on fake fiat currency that is just printed willy-nilly. And every country is doing this. They're just printing money that has no value, as if it had value. Jesuits love the printing presses. They love printing fake money. They're doing it all over the world and have been doing since 1913 when they set up the Federal Reserve in the USA, using their private bankers. The U.S. intelligence is claiming China endangered the world by lying about the severity of the COVID-19 outbreak. And this is April 2nd on the CBS News. Really? Really? China endangered the world with a fake virus? That's the nonsense that people are believing today. You watch how the media will beat up this China enemy accusation in the days going forward. You watch. The Jesuits always use this fake enemy ruse, whether it's China, Russia during the Cold War. What a scam that was, the Cold War. The Jesuits' Cold War, when nothing was happening and everyone was cooperating behind the scenes together and sharing all these technological secrets. What a joke. So it's China or Russia or now the USA sometimes is being touted as the enemy. They always invent fake enemies to keep people in fear and to distract them. It's all about distraction. It's a smokescreen to keep your focus away from Rome, the Pope, the Vatican, the Jesuit Military Order, and what they're doing behind the scenes. It is a smokescreen. And they have done this many, many times. Use these smokescreens to distract people's attention away from the real enemy, which is the Jesuits of Rome. People, the COVID-19 coronavirus is not unique and is not a killer, but is a common flu that is actually very hard to spread. That's a fact. This whole mask thing is nonsense. The contagious nature of this virus is greatly exaggerated by lying science experts who want to keep their jobs because they are under orders to hype this fake pandemic. It is the perfect ruse by which to coerce people into compliance and enslavement. Threaten them with a health risk and everybody runs for cover. Unbelievable, like lemmings over the cliff. So, what strategies are they using in the media to trick people into believing this is real? As one geographic hotspot wanes in the media, another one materializes to take its place. This is how they keep the story going. Hotspots. This hotspot strategy. Suddenly Russia, in the ABC News, Tokyo, New York, and France have a surge in cases. Russia sending medical supplies to the USA. Sky News, April the 4th. What the heck is going on? I thought these people were all enemies or working against each other, and now they're sending medical supplies to each other. It's a joke, people. The media is a joke. They're mocking you. They're mocking the stupidity of the masses who believe what they see and hear on television. Another strategy, pushing the numbers up. The Jesuits finally achieved their 1 million statistics on April the 2nd. This is in DW News. In their incremental campaign to give credibility to a fake pandemic with big numbers. Big numbers always impress. Anything bigger impresses people. A bigger car, a bigger house, a better job, bigger numbers, bigger pay. Everyone's impressed. Wow. This is the childishness of human mentality. The state of Western Australia is isolated from Australia as of April the 3rd. This is 9 News in Perth. They've isolated a state from the rest of Australia. Totally cut it off. Police are enforcing curfews in Kenya, in Africa, with tear gas, March the 30th. This is in the Telegraph. Under orders from the WHO, the World Health Organization, that the virus is spreading in Africa. Yeah, says WHO. Well, the WHO says that it is. And are you going to believe them? The CDC, or the Center for Disease Control, is now recommending that all Americans wear masks, April the 4th, NBC News. Does this signal new rules? No mask, no freedom outside? Let's watch and see what happens. Duplicity in the media. Video of a dummy in a New York hospital intensive care unit being televised as a real victim on April the 4th. This is on a YouTube video called PK Censored. I urge you to listen to some of PK's videos, even though he has a pretty vulgar, he uses pretty vulgar language. But he does come out with the truth. And so I support him in this respect. He speaks the truth. He's absolutely dismayed, like I am, at the stupidity of most people. People are either too lazy, uncaring, or too dumbed down to bother to check and verify all these things that are going on. A video on April the 4th of a large gathering of hospital staff, firemen, police, and cameramen with music playing, cheering, laughing, and having a photo shoot outside a New York hospital. On the same day, 635 people are meant to have died of the virus. What the heck is going on there? And this is again on PK Censored. You can see this video on his YouTube channel. What are they all laughing about? What's so funny? When they were questioned about the dead bodies, they just refused to answer and turned away. Their faces went blank. Really? There's another red flag. Other questions are, where are the bodies? What are the names of the dead? We are never told or shown. Never. We are just given numbers and told to believe them. Where are the lists of the dead people's names? Where? You won't find them anywhere in the mainstream media. Nowhere. Again, the state of Nevada in the USA requests FEMA assistance on April the 5th, and this is on 8 News, now Las Vegas. And here we can see that the states are beginning to include FEMA into their requesting FEMA assistance. And of course, this is going to leave things wide open for martial law to come in and eventually for lots of people to be rounded up and put into FEMA camps, there's 400 of them all across the USA, waiting. They've been waiting for a decade or more. Channel 4 Now News is now introducing a new narrative of under 50s being in the majority in ICU or intensive care unit at a Wales hospital in the UK. This is an attempt to legitimize the virus as dangerous to all age groups, which is false. Only the very old and infants are susceptible to flu viruses. The Jesuits are pushing child deaths. On April the 4th in the BBC News, 5-year-old dies of coronavirus. Take note of that. Gradually, we're going to see all age groups being threatened by this killer fake virus. Now former UK leaders Gordon Brown and Tony Blair are calling for global governance to handle the crisis. And this is in The Guardian, March 26th. And this is from PK Censored, his video on April the 5th. That's where it's all heading, folks. Global governance. A central world government under one tyrannical ruler. This is the Jesuit wet dream. A central government ruling the whole world. This is what they want. The Antichrist prophesied in the Bible, in the book of Daniel. Leaders have been and are continually saying this, but people are not listening. They think it's a joke. It's not a joke. This is being implemented even as I speak. The buzzwords are collective, togetherness, duty, obligation, social responsibility, and communitarianism. Today, in the Regina Leader Post in Canada, there is an article reading, maybe a global pandemic will eventually shake Prime Minister Justin Trudeau of the philosophy that Canada can afford to be the first post-nationalist state, as he expressed to the New York Times a few years ago. But so far it appears his government still prefers to imagine there are no countries, which seems as out of touch as celebrities singing John Lennon lyrics to us on Instagram. Well, let me tell you that is what actually exists. There are no countries. That's why Justin Trudeau can say and do what he's doing. Because he knows, like all other national leaders, there are no countries. They're just holding down jobs to keep people under control. Until the Jesuits can bring in their full New World Order government. We have been hearing world leaders talk about how we must have a new world order for decades. That has been the plan for hundreds of years. Here we are on the threshold of that promise being made good by the Jesuit Vatican Roman Empire. There's only one world empire today, and that is the Roman Vatican Empire. And you can believe it or not, but if you read and do the research and check the documents, you will see that there has been only one monolithic world government or empire organization for the last 2,000 years, and that is the Roman Catholic, formerly Roman Imperial, now Roman Papal world government. And that is a fact. This virus is being used as a pretext to lock everyone down, remove their liberties, and make them dependent on a digital money system and world governance coming from a single man, the final papal Antichrist. Talk of vaccines and vaccine programs have been going on for decades now, but in the last few years, Bill and Melinda Gates have really stepped up the pace of vaccine development and acceptance. Stories are coming in from everywhere of biolab facilities working on new vaccines to counter this fake virus. Teams in Israel, Canada, the USA, China, Australia, and other countries claim cooperation with and support from the Gates Foundation in the hope of finding a cure. People, there is no cure because there is no killer disease. There is now talk of mRNA, DNA-based vaccines in development. The plan is to inject everyone with DNA-based vaccines. For what purpose? A team at MIT a few months ago claimed successfully to have developed, in conjunction with the ubiquitous Bill Gates, a new infrared readable ink ID tattoo and vaccine device that leaves a permanent mark under the skin. This is for the purpose of scanning and quickly accessing information on whether a person's vaccine regimen is up to date. And of course, where is it going to be? It's going to be on the arm, in the hand, or maybe in the forehead. Sounds biblical, doesn't it? This certainly sounds like the mark of the beast to me. How clever. What better way to imprint people individually than under the guise of health? And from comments I've seen posted, people are crying out for a vaccine to fix the problem because they want to go back to normal. They want to go back to work. They want things the way they used to be. People, there will not be a return to normal. This is a delusion. It is very clear that vaccines are the central focus of the ruling Jesuit Vatican WHO apparatus. What better way of deceiving people into compliance and ultimately worship of the beast Antichrist, thus destroying them both physically and spiritually? There is little doubt in my mind that these new vaccines will alter the human body genetically and result in the damnation of the soul of the recipient for all eternity. This is serious. Please consider what I'm saying. We read in Revelation 9 and verse 6, "And it was commanded them that they should not hurt the grass of the earth, neither any green thing, neither any tree, but only those men which have not the seal of God in their foreheads. And to them it was given that they should not kill them, but they should be tormented 5 months. And their torment was as the torment of a scorpion when he strikes a man. And in those days shall men seek death, and shall not find it, and shall desire to die, and death shall flee from them." Well, that sounds to me like a vaccine-induced kind of immortality or inability to die. Think about it. Also in Revelation chapter 13, verses 16 to 18. "And he causes all," the Antichrist, the beast, "both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond." You're all included. Everyone's included in this. "To receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. And that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name." Here is wisdom. "Let him that has understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. There is only one man who can be the beast, and that is the Roman Catholic Pope. The Bible proves conclusively that the Antichrist is a dynasty of popes or antichrists, beginning with Constantine, the Roman Emperor Pope, in 313 AD, and the Edict of Milan. Go and check it out. Constantine was the first pope, not Peter. That is a lie that has been perpetrated by the Roman Catholic Church since the beginning. It is a lie. Constantine was the first Roman Catholic Pope. People, be warned. It is far better to live and die for Christ and then live eternally than to reject Christ, take the mark of the beast for a short time, and perish eternally in hell. There are 2 groups of people now forming worldwide. Those that believe the virus lie and those that don't. The biblical sheep and goats found in Matthew 25. That's what we're looking at. The sheep and the goats. What group are you in? Ask yourself this question. What group are you in right now? Time is running out for you to decide and make a decision on where you're going to go. You will notice that compliance to godless communist authorities and the testing of one's free will is ramping up under the lie of safety, security, and social responsibility. That's what they're putting people, that's the yoke they're putting on people's necks. No one has the right to threaten or force anyone against their will on God's free earth. No one. Yet this program of compliance is stepping up day by day everywhere across this great flat earth plain. Everywhere. Who has the power to do that? What new media narratives will we see in the coming days as the Jesuits complete their program of world deception? All disinformation and outright lies. People, I see the writing on the wall. I believe we are watching events right now that mark the end of this age and the end of Satan's 6,000-year rule over the nations of the earth. The Lord Jesus Christ will soon return and set up his kingdom on earth. Will you be saved and in the congregation of the people of God? It's up to you to take a good look and examine the facts. Examine what I'm saying. Have a look. Read. Go to my websites, my video channel. Listen to what I'm talking about. I've spent 7 years investigating and researching all this. It's true. I would not be on here and wasting my time just to tell you lies. I have nothing to benefit, no gain. I make no money. I make nothing from doing what I do and the endless hours that I spend in making these videos just to warn you about what is coming. Just to give you a heads up. I do it out of love. That's all. If this is your first time on this channel, I urge you to go back to video number 1 and learn about the true enemy of mankind. the Jesuit Military Order of Rome. There are more than 80 videos which will give you a good overview of what's been happening over the last 500 years. Also, please use the materials on my website, darknessisfalling.com. People, Jesus Christ is the only way to salvation. No government authority or organization can save your soul. Only Jesus Christ, who is God. No one can rescue you from the world dictatorship that is coming soon. If you are on another religious path, then you are on the wide path to destruction. Doesn't matter what you think. Doesn't matter what your argument is. The Bible is correct. It is true. There is a wide road to destruction, and there is only a small and narrow path to salvation. If you have not found Jesus Christ, and He is not your Lord, your God, then you are on the wide path to destruction. John chapter 14 and verse 6 clearly states in no uncertain terms, Jesus said unto him, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man comes unto the Father, God, but by me. And that is the truth. Reject this, and you will perish eternally. That is the truth. Thank you for listening, and I pray that God will continue to open your eyes to the spiritual deception that has blinded the eyes of mankind. I hope to see you in the next video, but should I be prevented, may God bless you richly.